A morally conflicted Miami Metro homicide detective with a heart of gold, Angel Batista was a moral compass to Dexter, but in the books, he's completely unrecognizable from his job to his relationships. Today, I'll be going over how different Angel is in the books. Number 1. Angel's occupation. The first major difference is the fact that Lieutenant Angel Batista never dons the blue uniforms in the books. In the show, he is introduced as a hardworking, loyal cop with strong moral beliefs. He's dedicated to his job, but also provides this sense of humanity and warmth to the dark proceedings. He's also depicted as compassionate and sometimes goofy, a character who is both a source of comic relief and emotional depth. He often serves as the voice of reason for Dexter and his colleagues, but one of the most memorable traits of Batista is his unpretentious, working-class demeanor, which helps him connect with the people around him. He started as a detective for the first 2 seasons, then got promoted to sergeant in the 3rd season, and finally to lieutenant in season 8. His humble desires are portrayed in Dexter season 7, episode 6, Do the Wrong Thing, when Batista reveals his aspirations of opening his own restaurant and wants to retire.
Well, how are you going to find the time to run a restaurant with all the hours you put into the station?
I could just retire. I've put in my 20 years.
When Masuka announces this, Deborah asks if it's because of Mike Anderson's murder. Batista explains that he is burned out, doesn't have a life, and the thought of buying a restaurant makes him happy. This is an important part of his character arc, as it highlights his desire for a better life outside of the grind of police work. He goes on to open Papa's Cafe, which he keeps even after returning as a police officer. This version of Batista was also deeply affected by his interactions with Dexter, particularly in his unwitting role as a foil to Dexter's cold and calculating nature. This is shown in season 2, episode 11, Left Turn Ahead, after Dexter threatened Lila to drop the rape charges against Angel.
I'm here to ask you respectfully to drop the charges against Angel.
The two have a conversation. In a rare moment of honesty, Dexter admits,
If I got to choose a person, like a real person, be like, out of anyone, it'd be you.
Now, the simplest way to describe how we see all of this play out in the books is that we just don't. Book Angel never made detective, let alone lieutenant. Angel is shown to introduce himself as Angel Batista, no relation, in reference to the Cuban former dictator Fulgencio Batista. As a result, is nicknamed Angel No Relation by Dexter. And instead of being a cop, he was a forensic scientist alongside Dexter and Masuka. He worked in the medical examiner's office and was disconnected from Dexter, who related more to Masuka. The two rarely exchanged words, and even when they did, it was more transactional than emotional. Though he had respect for the cops around him, Book Angel is more hardened by the nature of his work. He is also not shown to have any other aspirations in the books, and Papa's Cafe was never even a reality. But why? Well, the reason behind this is that he's basically not a character in the books, which brings us to point number 2. Number 2, Angel's presence. For someone who had considerable screen time on the show, with significant contributions, the books make finding him feel like looking for a needle in a haystack. Angel in the show is a heartfelt leader, one that makes everyone more optimistic, and he has a contagious aura that uplifts everyone. Humble and kind, he was able to win many hearts among the audience and have meaningful relationships with other characters, no matter how short. He's a more compassionate, sometimes conflicted person who seems like a man torn between his ethical compass and the corrupt realities of law enforcement. His moral dilemmas, particularly regarding his relationship with Dexter without ever knowing Dexter's dark secret, add layers to his character. In contrast, Book Angel fades into the background, having only utilitarian conversations with everyone who surrounded him and never going further than that. He is a competent but somewhat stereotypical man with a personality that doesn't take center stage at all. While he does have a strong sense of justice, he's often shown as more as a straight-laced employee. He's also quite timid, with very few contributions overall, keeping his opinions largely to himself. He also doesn't share the lightheartedness and empathy of his TV counterpart. Basically, considering he has maybe 10 lines of dialogue in the books, we know next to nothing about him. And for many book readers, he's one of the most forgettable characters. But we know how big of a role he plays in the story. He even marries LaGuerta. So why does he just fade into the background? Well, that brings us to the last point on our list. Number 3, Angel's relationships. Book Angel never marries LaGuerta in the books. In fact, he basically has no relationships at all in the books. Just to get you all caught up, let's recap all the interesting relationships he had in the show. In season 1, episode 4, Let's Give the Boy a Hand, Angel's soon-to-be ex-wife and his daughter Ari make their debut. The couple were estranged for 3 months.
It's been 3 months, baby.
And Angel hoped to reconcile on their 10th anniversary, showing up at their doorstep with flowers and a diamond necklace. But his wife is not pleased to see him, insisting that she needs as much time as she needs.
I need as much time as I need.
She, however, lets him see Ari before he leaves. Noticing that Ari is peacefully asleep, he softly whispers a few words in Spanish, calling her his princess, before quietly slipping out, leaving the necklace gently beside her. This clearly shows just how much emotion he has as a character and is an important part of his story. His relationship with his first wife and their subsequent divorce deeply affects Angel, and this reflects in his actions, where he becomes an alcoholic for a brief time. In season 3, episode 4, All in the Family, after being caught with prostitutes, Angel says,
I destroyed my marriage. I lost my little girl. I'm a divorced cop. Halfway down the road to a full-blown cliche. A divorced alcoholic cop.
He gets tangled up with Lila for a short period in season 2. He truly believed in the goodness of Lila, but she was just using him to get to Dexter. Even when she wrongly accused him of raping her, Angel's response was not one of anger, but of concern. This draws a sharp contrast between him and Dexter, who threatens Lila to make the problem go away. He also has a short-lived romance with a fellow cop, Barbara Gianna.
I'm Detective Barbara Gianna, Metro Vice.
Whom he met when she was undercover. They were seen together at Dexter and Rita's wedding, but this ends with the start of season 4, where he tells another detective that they wanted different things, giving way to his romance with LaGuerta.
I love you.
From the start, he thought quite highly of LaGuerta and went on to have a relationship with her for most of season 4. The season ends with the two of them getting married, but the marriage didn't end up being a happy one, being constantly challenged by their work disagreements for most of season 5. At first, Batista caves in to LaGuerta's demands, but grows more and more frustrated. When a drunk police officer makes sexual remarks about LaGuerta, saying she gave the best blowjobs in Miami, Batista, who was also drunk, beats him up. This leads to him being investigated by internal affairs. LaGuerta teams up with the investigating officer, but that prompts Batista to develop a deep jealousy. He starts checking her cell phone for suspicious messages and finds a rendezvous appointment in a hotel room. Outraged, he walks in on them, only to find out that it was intended to be a sting operation to apprehend a corrupt narcotics cop, in which LaGuerta agreed to participate to bail Batista out of the investigation. Soon after that, Angel and LaGuerta separate in order for her to secure the position of captain in Miami Metro Homicide at the start of season 6. He also has a sister in the show, Jamie. He is an endearing brother and ends up being a father figure to Joey Quinn to help their relationship. Although sometimes misguided by his pure intentions, Jamie values his presence in her life. With such a vibrant life on screen, you'd expect the same out of Book Angel, but that would not be true. His personal life is rarely ever shown, with no mention of wives, siblings, or children. He looks down upon LaGuerta, believing she only made detective because of her political sense and no real skills. With Lila never mentioned in the book series and LaGuerta being killed in the first book, their relationships with Angel are non-existent. Jamie and Ari Batista are also never characters in the books, with Joey adding to that list too, making Book Angel's personal life be basically non-existent. In conclusion, the books offer a more reserved background version of Batista, while the TV show transforms him into a fully realized character with emotional depth, complex relationships, and a personal journey that resonates with viewers. His growth from a loyal detective to a more morally conflicted and nuanced figure allows the show to explore themes of family, loyalty, and personal struggle in a way the books never quite did. Ultimately, I love what they did with Batista, and I feel like it gave him the character arc he deserved.